PowerPoint templates. So I've got
I
to.
never saw that good. What's the charge?
You got to put the word free in there.
Well, I guess you can't create your own thing.
That's a little outside my skill set.
Come on.
Creating your own. Okay, so we're going to get started because it's 5:34, and I have this recording via Camtasia Relay. I know. I want to just hear it. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear. We don't have anybody online, and I didn't feel like bringing in the camera because I've got to take it back upstairs if I'm done. So I'll get back into that next week. So how is everybody?
Good.
Oh, that sounds so tiring. Sounds a bit. You mean good? How are you?
We're good.
I'm personally, professionally, physically.
I'm feeling good at this point now that things are shaping up. It's just a matter of doing what I have to do.
You got to do what you got to do, right? And sometimes you got to wait it out,
Yeah.
which is the hard part.
The only thing I found that, is I sent out my survey this week, so I have people in the organization grab me to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes this conversation where it becomes this more broader topic, and you got to kind of steer it because you don't want to, you're kind of focused on the area that you're focused on, and not introducing, future research implications, whatever, and trying to. I was pretty stoked, man. When I sent out that survey Monday, I was like, I'm going to have to beat down doors, And I was excited that people were excited about the survey,
What is the downside of conversations happening about the survey after the fact? Why is that dangerous?
Because I haven't
After the
realized
fact
it.
or during the fact? Is the survey still open or closed?
It's still yours is still open?
Yeah, technically, but I'm not sending any more emails about it.
But somebody could still get in there today or tonight. And
Correct.
so what's the downside of having conversations?
That it could actually affect the results. As
How?
far as people having conversations about, like in my thing, I said, in my informed consent, I think I got a paragraph about confidentiality. Do not discuss this because it may hinder further research. So I wouldn't want anybody saying, oh, I did this, or I filled it out this way, so let me go back and do it that way.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's totally natural for people to want to talk, especially if they know who the researcher is, like in your case. But the downside is you could theoretically influence someone else's response who hasn't completed it yet. More importantly, there's another way that influence can happen, and how's that?
Well, knowing who the person is, number one.
Maybe they wouldn't want to do it if they overheard the conversation.
So if I'm analyzing it, because I haven't, though I haven't surveys are complete, I haven't done the work of analyzing what exactly the information is. So, when I try to steer the conversation, more so people are sharing their past experiences, but not necessarily related to the questions on there. So, but you're right.
But theoretically, it could steer your interpretation. Because now you know how certain people have answered. You might be able to pinpoint which line that person was inadvertently, even without thinking about it, even without intending to do it. It could happen that way. But it doesn't stop people from talking. It's the water cooler.
Call them all.
Yeah. I can't hear you yet. Talk to me on the 31st. People were just telling me, I got your survey, I did it.
That's cool.
I was just like, okay, great, thank you.
Okay, how about those things?
So anyone else have anything before we display the agenda for tonight? No? So this is what we're doing. We're going to check in, which we kind of just did. But I want to check in a little bit differently too. We're going to talk about data analysis, what you do with your data once you get it. How do you code it? How do you figure out what that all means? Descriptive analysis, what that is, if you're doing anything with a survey, how do you deal with that? Does anybody care if I take my sheet off?
No.
And then how you're going to present that information, because this is the key. And this is the reason why you have the draft of your results and findings due. Okay? Because it's the first time you've ever had to write that stuff. You've written lit reviews before, you've written different things before. What I want you to do is to see how I want you to present the information so that when you do your draft, essentially when you're finished and you get your feedback, you can copy and paste it and drop it right into your full proposal. I keep saying it, into your full capstone. Okay, so you're writing it as if it's just being pulled out. All right? You should look tired. You're tired?
We are.
Had a break.
Now, what are you saying?
I know, I've been in touch with how many of you during that break, right? So welcome back after your break. Did anybody do anything fun? At least decompress for a little bit of time?
I did.
Good. What'd you do?
I mean, I didn't do anything fun, but I decompressed.
That's important, right?
It was important.
I mean, I went out on the 4th, but I was old, so still thinking about, do I really need to go out or do I need to be in front of this computer?
Yeah.
You know, so it was kind of like this, and I'll tell you, the night before I got my RB back, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep because I was so, you know, keyed up about that, you know, is it worded right? Then with me in community, like I said, I had to get 12 different documents together before they would even look at, you know, approval. And that had me in a knot. But I'll tell you, the morning that I sent it off, and when I hit that send button, it was like 10 pounds was lifted off. Because it's either, this is do or die at this moment. You know, I can't worry about it no more. I went back and started changing stuff, and I'm like, no, send it as is, you know, and just, you know, I expressed my desire to do research with them because I've read on their developmental education and was really interested to see it in motion, in action. So I'm feeling better about that. That part is over with.
Do you have a timeline as to when they might get back to you?
No, but I'm hoping by at least Tuesday, Wednesday. You know.
That's the hard part, is now it's out of your control.
Yeah.
It's out of our control.
So you're waiting for approval, then, waiting for
We have a
approval.
company, so.
Right. I had to send them.
We have a policy to not share.
Here.
Well,
I had to
we have a
send
policy.
notice, like a document, notice to participants, informed consent forms, my resume, acknowledgement of company college policy. It was 12 different things that I had to write up a Word document on.
You would also have been, it would have been easier if they had an IRB.
Yeah.
Basically, but
Was not there a specific requirement for all those?
That was requirement to obtain permission.
But why do we need all that? Why do they need all that?
For protection of human.
Subjects.
Mhm.
We all learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Seems
very,
like a long time ago, doesn't it?
very intense, I'll tell you. And the more that I was trying to get things together, the more I looked and said, okay, now I need to tell them how I need them to assist me, you know, what assistance I require from them, which was information from them, plus acquiring permission to record, plus getting a room and stuff like that. And I mean, it was a boom, boom, boom. I was like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed looking at it. But when I hit that send button, I sat back. I said, now I need a drink.
I think I'm just, for me, it's just the extra assignments that I know just don't really want.
You mean your capstone assignments? Yeah. I don't want to hear that.
I'm just saying.
You know, your name is on the stuff, Kanisha. It's not anonymous.
I know my name is on it,
Come on. Don't tell me you don't want to do this stuff.
but I'm doing it. I'm doing it, but my four things is coming late.
The learning objectives.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. What is the key if you've got to turn something in late?
Talk to you.
Talk to me when?
Beforehand.
Before the due date.
Yeah.
Before the due date, yeah. You know I'm flexible with that stuff.
Yeah, I had all intentions of finishing it yesterday, and then it stormed, and I'm scared of the dark, it's under lightning, and so that wasn't happening.
Yeah, I shut down.
So I
The
had all
thing that happened to me is I was in
the
the gym watching, scared to get the basketball. which is good.
Well, and then I have to try, because I don't want my dog to get anxiety because I'm scared. So I have to try to be calm so that because he doesn't care about it. But if I get hyped, he's gonna get hurt. He wants to be following me
My
around.
family were sending me from the room to take pictures.
You were taking,
No, I stood up and they were like, "Where go?" I was like, "Yeah, right."
One comment I did hear from a couple folks that, have done master's programs is that they can't believe the amount of time that we're doing all this in a condensed period. They're amazed that we're,
you can always extend,
now I'm saying, not a negative thing, but
but it is an option. If someone, I can tell you that when you do other research, you still have to pay for the semester credits. So whether someone does a capstone in a full academic year, they're still paying for all those credits. So whether you do it in 3 credits in one term, or you do it in 3 credits plus the extension in a full year, it's an option. It's there for you.
I think a lot of the difference is the fact that it's a action research versus a research. Because like I said, with my master's, it wasn't like this. It was anything that I could read, any scholarly stuff, and I wrote up on that, but it wasn't an action.
But it wasn't a study, was it?
Mhm.
See, having the study is what's, but guess what? You're all doing it.
that's why I meant the
Yeah.
it's gonna take some sort of,
It's like
pleasure.
planning a wedding. If you've got 2 years that you're engaged, it takes you 2 years to plan a wedding. If you've got 8 months and you're engaged, it takes 8 months to plan a wedding.
You're right.
Right, that's why I said the extension's not an
It
option.
should be enough.
It doesn't have to be an option for everybody that doesn't want it, unless you're getting something that's stopping you from getting done. But it's there.
Say 4 months, they can be done in 4 months.
It can be done in 4 months. You're an excellent example of that.
You know what it feels like in talking to, everybody else, like, we all hit this, like, one point during the capstone process, like, am I really gonna make it? And once you get over that, it feels like it's, I don't wanna say smooth, it's not smooth sailing, but you feel like you can see outside the bar.
The hard part to find you though.
Like I said before, the hardest part for me was doing the proposal.
Yep.
Okay? Now, once that other stuff got out the way, once I start my data collection, it's just talking about my findings.
Yep.
And incorporating that into my paper.
And you will see in a little bit what that entails and how you do that.
Okay, there is one question, I don't know if you're getting to this point, but you had said, as far as the IRB application, include them in your full, I didn't understand that.
Yeah, that's a good question, because I don't actually have that on stuff here. You will put in your methodology, when you're writing in your methodology, you're going to talk about how you obtain IRB approval from Pierce College, see Appendix A for the approval and whatever, I think you have 2 documents you put in, your
Application,
I don't think it's a certificate.
You don't have to put this in.
It
And
should
when the
actually be your
application,
application, because
because
that has your site on it.
You said,
Your approval letter, your decision and
Yeah.
feedback letter,
Yeah,
that
that-
says it's approved.
You don't have to put the certificate in?
No, you don't need your certificate.
Is it bad that it's on there? or-
In your final project,
I mean, cause I'm bad at putting it on there, that's why I'm asking.
it
I don't
does,
know why it was so difficult, it was like, driving me crazy trying to, but I got it, I mean, it's nice, it looks good.
how did you introduce it in your writing?
I did exactly what you told me to do, because you, and your feedback, you and Dr. Sakala's feedback to me, I followed everything you said. And
I didn't
so-
say to put the certificate in there.
No. I did
Okay.
that myself.
Okay.
I figured, I said, oh, well, maybe I thought about it. I said, well, maybe I should put this too, because,
I think your proposal and your decision and feedback form.
your email says
think
2
there's 2.
documents attached should be mentioning your full capstone.
Yeah.
2 documents on the research proposal,
Okay.
the application,
Okay,
and the decision and feedback.
yeah, that's cool. Because you're not going to publish it. If you were to publish it, you would pull that out anyway because you don't identify your site.
the actual
The
application itself needs
checklist,
to be.
Yeah. No, don't need the checklist.
The actual application itself.
The application and your decision and feedback. Yeah.
and decision.
And if I send it to you as a Word, it was so you could copy and paste it. Because if it's a PDF, you can't copy and paste it. So if you need it as a Word, let me know. I probably just have it brain.
Application and decision.
Okay? I may change that.
No.
No, I may have you not put your application in,
That's a good idea.
Why?
Because it identifies.
because it identifies the site.
Oh, yes, yes.
I don't want you to put your application in.
Oh, so don't
It
do that.
identifies the site.
So
Yeah.
this
You gotta write
is,
your site on the other.
Yeah, your site and your contact
Yeah,
and all
but
that.
I put the site in my paper.
No, you don't put your site in the paper.
you don't put the.
Okay.
You don't identify.
The names of-
Okay.
Yeah, don't put your, I got
That's why it's
I would
a,
ask about that too.
okay, at a community college.
it, exactly. Or you, well, you only have one, so you want to say at come up with some acronym for it, or come up with a pseudonym. Don't just say a community college. Say, what's your middle, put BJD Community College.
Irving College.
So for me,
Something.
is it all right to say, I was thinking just, or is that choosing participant one, participant two?
That's fine, but I would use letters instead of numbers.
No, I was gonna put the word, for like one, O-N-E.
I would still use letters because you're going to eventually produce data that will also be number driven. So in theory, you would have participant 2 had a 14%, participant 1 had an 11, and you're going to get two numbers, like you're going to get it jumbled up in your head. I don't get it jumbled up in my head, I should say. I would do a letter.
So do letter.
You can do it however you
Number.
wish. However,
Okay.
I would just, you want to make it easy to understand.
So mine, so I'm interviewing 3 folks, 3 different titles, but I want to distinguish the title, so why can't I?
I'll tell you why you can't, and I did it to Lourdes. In her results and findings, she said that participant A was a newly hired, I'm gonna just make up a title, dean. 2 seconds, I Googled it and I found out who he was.
So if I say the human resource executive at small to mid-sized organization in Greater Philadelphia area, you're gonna find that.
No, but I knew where you did your thing. If anybody knows you and knows you did it at the zoo, remember, you're keeping confidentiality. You're gonna have your colleagues read this perhaps. Well, they're gonna know who said what.
All right, if he takes some action as an organization.
Yeah.
But if I'm analyzing the different perspectives of the leadership team, I have to distinguish that.
Let's talk about it with seeing how you're rating it.
Okay.
I'm just saying, even though I'm interviewing people at different levels, I'm still using participant A and because really the level doesn't matter, it's just the fact that they're a leader.
Not in my
I
particular
want to,
case.
let's look at yours. Yours may come down to, you still call them participant A, B, and C, but early on, you may say participant A has a human resources perspective, participant B has a finance perspective, participant C. So that's said once, but it's not, the human resources person said this, the human resources person said that.
Say it like that.
Yeah, you don't want to say it like that. Let's look at yours up. We'll look at yours together on that.
Alright.
But you want to come up with a pseudonym. You want to have BJD Community College instead of just a community college.
Okay, because at first we said, community college in northern region.
That's how you're describing it in your location, definitely. But in your study, you're going to say this community college will be referred to as,
Okay.
okay?
Gotcha.
Okay? Steve, in your case, since you've got multiple sites, participant 1, 2, 3, 4, or A, B, C, D, however you want to do it, you can give them meanings. I've known people who were heavy into certain shows. And so they named them after, Colleen, give me a show that's got people in it. Cheers. Okay, so somebody's in the Cheers. So they had Sam and Diane and Norm.
Oh, okay, the characters.
Yeah, you can do it that way too. Whatever you
No, I
want.
didn't know that.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah.
You do that. Pick your favorite show. You could have,
They use the characters.
I probably wouldn't do Sesame Street.
That's a good grammar.
But you could do Sons of Anarchy, you can do anybody you want to.
Breaking Bad.
Break it back.
Why
Okay.
can't you Sesame Street?
Because Cookie Monster kind of takes the seriousness away from it,
Bert and Ernie said.
Does anybody know why I use colored pencils today? Carl always thinks that there's a hidden agenda to it.
There usually is.
There is tonight.
Because every section is something different.
Every section is something different. What do you mean by that?
Every part of this, every step of this is something different. it's still the color pencil, it's still gonna be the same thing at the end. It still serves the same purpose, but it has different parts to it. Yeah.
That's interesting take.
Yeah, it's interesting.
See, I look at it more like diversity. Diversity, when we talk about topics here, each of us have a very different topic,
It's a good take,
so I put diversity.
it's a good take. Anyone else?
Hey, pretty much it.
I like yours, different flavor every week, every step of the way.
I had a couple different thoughts, because you can always have like a subliminal thing. So what's the rainbow representing?
You know, it makes me think about our last
Positive
16.
I saw rainbow last night actually, of our middle school. Cooper gets out and tries to go find the end so he can find the color was. Keep going, keep going.
We'll have probably different feedback, and we have to sort out these feedbacks and put it to different colors.
And that's called what? Called what? Did you say?
Coding.
Coding! You do coding by colors. Well, that was what the Supreme Court came up with a rainbow. But anyway, that's all. Whatever. But no, I picked it because of coding, and I'm a very color-oriented person, and when you do your coding of your data, color is going to be very helpful for you to identify your different themes. So, what does that mean? Is that a foreign language yet? So data collection, whether you're done or whether you're soon to be done, which some of you are just about done, some of you are just about starting, some of you are in between, some of you are on different stages. And like Carl said, I need you guys to help me come up with a tracking chart so I can keep track of where all you are, but that's another day. So what do you do once you collect it all? So I want you to either imagine that you have collected all of your data or you have collected all of your data. So what do you do now? What does that mean? You're going to analyze your data. Hey, Saverna's here. You're going to analyze the data. What does that entail? If it's qualitative, what are you going to start with? What's the first thing you're going to do to analyze the qualitative data?
Find common themes.
How do you find your common themes?
We have to have like different criteria, and then we have to sort
Oh,
the data based on those criteria.
What would this criteria be?
Based on your research questions?
Okay, so you've got your research questions, right? Even before that. What did you say? You said find themes?
Statement of problem.
No. Now, because you're looking at your data. You already figured out what your problem statement is, and that's all been addressed by your research questions and your supplemental questions, right? Before you even, your qualitative is what? What is your qualitative stuff?
Word, language.
That L, you remember that L, right? The language, the word. So where is all that coming from?
Your interviews.
Your interviews. Oh, so what do you got to do? What did you say?
I said interviews.
Oh, see, I didn't hear you. She was talking about the L.
Transcribe your interviews.
Boom, right there. You got to start by transcribing your interviews. Don't shake your head at that because that's a very important step, and I'll tell you why. If you sit back and you listen to your 6 interviews that you did, and you don't transcribe them, what are you going to do?
You're gonna lose.
Yeah.
The meaning behind the word.
You're going to lose a lot of detail. Absolutely. The transcription is an incredibly important piece of analyzing your data.
Are you in both sides?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Very important part of your data analysis because you've got to be able to see it. If you rely on the gray matter up here, you're on fried. Okay? You're going to miss something if you're not seeing it, and that's where Stefan's colors are going to come into it, that you can actually start coloring things, okay?
I was thinking to name my organization like Yellow Green.
Sure, yeah.
Have a, do you know of a free, anyone know of a free site?
To,
Transcribe for,
let's look.
How do you get it back yet?
Free transcription software? PC or Mac?
PC.
Yeah.
Did I spell it wrong?
Software.com.
Listen, yes, man.
Transcriber. Dude.
Free software, yo, Tim. Kanisha, the short answer is no, I don't know of one, but if you come up with one,
One of my classmates found one, but they gotta pay a substantial amount.
that's not free then.
I'm cheap. But I'm like, I'm out there, I've got five.
So if you pay, can everybody use it, if everybody getting money from it?
No, you pay per
Per,
Per what?
per each interview, or the amount of time it is.
Oh, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Kanisha, I would say try Google
Yeah.
and see what you can find. Try different words, but you need transcription software or transcription, what was the other option? Yeah, I would try Google. That didn't pull anything up that way. It said app at one point, didn't it?
What says saying it's free? What's free? Because it says free.
Those were ads.
Let's go here.
Free of what?
Oh, if you don't do PC, it brings up more.
Interviews. Oh, that's okay.
Here's a download, Transcriber Pro. That sounds like it's probably not free. Online transcription and dictation software.
Yeah, I'll pay for something with a one-time fee, I don't wanna have to pay per
Six different interviews.
Yeah.
and how much is it per?
Depends on the amount of time. So I had one that was like, I think one was 35 minutes, cost me $50 for it. $50.
And was it accurate?
And again, you don't pay until you view it.
Mm.
You get a chance to look at it before you pay for it.
What is Amazon?
Hey, Amazon Prime Day. Coming up.
Coming up, July 15th.
Yeah.
If you got Prime,
I got Prime.
it's like Friday, shopping.
Yeah.
I tried some of the apps that do it, but it was just choppy. It just doesn't pick up everything.
So unless you're paying for it.
And you could be spending more time trying to find something than actually doing it. I mean, no.
Right, exactly.
If you've got a buddy that's good at it,
I mean, I'm there, my sister, $100 and shoot you the ball, because,
Really?
yeah.
But
there you go. She can make some money off of all you.
But yeah, I gotta wait for her, something.
Well, that's the other part too, is it's gotta be
Right,
convenient.
exactly.
There is a
I'm just not good like fighting, like, I can't fight quick.
Stefan, what do you have?
I just found a company, it's called Connect Away, but they do like a service. It's
Yeah.
Fintech transcription services.
When they charge.
When you find something, please let me know and I'll pass it on to the next
I sure
generation.
will.
Yeah, it's set for.
Rather GSA.
Oh, yeah. They service, they don't want you to.
Yeah, that's service group.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Alright, so you have transcribed your data. What's the next thing you do? Did you see it when it was up there? It was just up there a minute ago.
No.
What do you do after you transcribe it? Whether you do it or you have somebody else do it. Somebody else do it. What do you do next?
Read it.
Check it.
Read it.
Check it, exactly. So how you do that, you know what, I got my little clicker thing. You replay the recordings while reading the transcription. Simple. Okay, it's very basic, but that's an important thing because guess what? If something is misinterpreted during that transcription, it could change an entire meaning. All right? The next step then is to confirm the accuracy. I can give you a clue here on something. If you were going for a higher level, you would have to take this transcription back to the person, have them read it, and make sure that it's accurate. We're not making you do that. Okay? All right? And then clarify if unclear. So by not doing this, when you actually replay it and you listen to it, if something's not clear, like what were they talking about? I don't understand it. Go back to the person. Hopefully you have said as your last question, if I have any follow-up questions, I'm able to contact you again. Okay? Make sure that you do that because it's very important, especially if you're sharing your results with them. You don't want them to think, that's not what I said. That's not at all what I was talking about. Okay? So, coding data. You're gonna do this, and I have a little handout for you too, but I'm not gonna give it till later. When you code your data, and coding relates to qualitative data, and it can relate to quantitative if you had some open-ended questions on a survey. All right, so it's not just an interview that would get coded. Do you have a question?
No, I was asking Carl for some go. Anybody have any?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
No, I thought you had a question, sorry.
No, I do have probably one or two, because I have some questions that if you answer this, please explain. So then I'm quoting just for those questions.
Just for those questions.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay? Doesn't mean that that's going to get included into your results and findings. If they're the only one, if you've got one person that says something, it's not necessarily a theme. How is that a theme? But it may be worth mentioning.
So just on card, coding is basically just transcribing or getting it onto some sort of format.
No, coding it is categorizing it. So you're taking all of these answers to a question, and you've got a theme that has come about that people say it's all about mentoring. 7 people said it's about mentoring. So you've coded that data so that mentoring is showing up. Okay? But it's not a cut and paste thing. It's basically taking them all and taking a colored pencil and underlining it. Oh gosh, and it's how you identify how many people thought this. How many people said it had nothing to do with mentoring? Well, now you've got something that you can start to discuss.
So these are the things that you're basically picking up the things you want to analyze further.
You're picking out the themes that are worth analyzing. Yeah. Okay?
Gotcha.
So it's not a process that is, it's a very rudimentary process that you're reading it and rereading it and you think, if I read this one more time, I'm gonna, but you have to do that so that you can see these commonalities. So you're going to start by doing it, you've got your research question, but didn't you have sub-questions that related to your research questions?
Yes.
So you're going to actually start by coding your sub-questions. What's a sub-question? Hopefully you know this, right?
I don't know, do I have some questions?
You all had sub-questions. You had multiple questions that were used to answer a research question.
Okay, like my main
So much.
question was, how
You
is
can have one. Yeah.
No, okay.
Interview questions. Your interview questions. So you had multiple interview questions that were used to answer a research question.
Oh,
Right.
that's
Is
why,
that where you were going?
that's why y'all kept saying, make sure the interview questions relate to
Yeah, I
the research questions.
There you go. That's why I was saying, Ken, you have an old story. That's why I kept saying, make sure every
Yeah.
question you ask in your survey or your
Relates to-
interviews relates directly to, with the exception of what?
Demographic.
Demographics, right. Demographics we're going to talk about in a little bit, but demographics go up here. Okay? So as you have your different questions, you're going to start coding them by question. Okay, so what are the themes that have come out here? Okay? Whatever that may be. And you want to make it as detailed as you can, and that's where the color stuff comes in, because you're going to forget when you're counting, how many of these did I have, how many of those did I have? Well, you've got 4 green lines, you've got 2 purple lines, you've got 8 red lines. Holy cow, 8 red lines tells you something. Okay? Just because there's 2 purple lines doesn't mean that it's not significant. It just means only 2 people thought that. It could counter the others. So you have to look at it, and it's talking pie in the sky because we've got how many of you in here? You're all going to have different situations.
I'm confused on these colors.
Okay. I'll show you. Saverna, may I be so, see, I've already been reading yours. Say this is Saverna's transcription.
Okay.
I don't want to do it to this.
Here, I got it.
Does anybody have an old copy?
Yeah,
Yeah, here. I just don't want to mess yours up. Okay. All right, that'll work. So what kind of colored pens do we all have? You know what, I'll use the markers, that way you can see from there. So for the sake of, all right, we'll take a yellow one too.
I have blue.
Blue will work too. Blue, so sorry. Blue, yellow, okay. So let's because you've got it super small, but that's okay. So let's say, for example, the question was, what kind of, I'm not gonna do it this way. We're gonna do it this way. And I won't use these because I'll mark the wall for permanent. All right, so let's say give me a question.
A research question?
An interview question. Describe your leadership. Woo!
Describe your leadership style.
What is the role of leadership development in your organization?
Too slow, we're not using it.
How does leadership development impact your organization?
So let's go around the room. Describe your leadership style, Sabrina. All right, all of you are going to be asked this, so somebody shout it out and then we'll all get everybody. What? Bossy. Give me a sentence with it. Mr. Fritz, please describe your leadership style. Don't give me one word. Well, I am
I am a disciplinarian.
and bossy dude. Okay, anyone else? Who
I
else?
sometimes micromanage, although I like my team to be self-sufficient.
You okay, Beverly?
I'm sure the one. I think it's the air conditioner, that's why I'm using it in the park. I'm allergic to it.
Okay, someone else?
I'm trying to be a mentor and not just giving commands.
Don't make them all so different, all right? I'm not going to be able to say anything.
Oh.
Tim?
I said supportive, supportive in what we do.
I'm supportive and I'm supportive, but let them work on their own?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's do a few more.
I lead by example.
Such as what? I lead by example when?
Inspiring the shared vision.
Oh my God, did you just read that textbook?
No.
Lead by example.
Handle challenges.
And ensure vision is known. How about that? Get close look. Anyone else? Beverly?
I like to empower my team.
Okay. Okay, so now let's code this. Okay. Enter the colored pencils. Do we have everybody? What would mine be?
Encourage. That's what you do.
I encourage all to follow the mission and vision of the organization. Okay? So,
Set the tone and the expectations.
you set the tone and expectation? Okay. Okay. So let's talk about this. Let's go through first, because you can't come up with your themes until you read it all, right?
Right.
So as we go through and read it, let's pick out any commonalities, any common words or common meanings, okay? I am a disciplinarian boss and boss dude. I sometimes micromanage, but like my team to be self-sufficient. I am trying to be a mentor, but not just give commands. I am supportive, but allow them to work on their own. I lead by example and ensure the vision is known. Well, you actually said inspired to share vision. That's okay. That's close enough, right? Okay. I like to empower my team. I encourage all to follow the mission and vision of the organization, and I set the tone and expectations for all. What kind of themes? What coding do you see? What commonality?
The first and second one go together.
Yeah, the first.
What words though?
The second,
I'm a disciplinarian.
All right, disciplinarian goes with what?
Micromanage.
Micromanage.
the second part of the second one, the team to be self-sufficient, is the same as the fourth one.
Team to be self-sufficient, same as supportive but allow them to work. Okay.
I think the last one.
Mentor and boss? Is that no?
Are mentor and boss the same?
No.
Empower and encourage.
And set the
Give
tone and
commands,
expectations.
Empower my team and
Encourage all to follow.
Just encourage all.
Just encourage.
okay, and encourage.
And then I've got the
And
last
then
one,
tone and then
I set the
expectation.
tone with, I lead by example.
So an expectation goes with mission and vision.
Mission and vision.
Yeah,
No?
but lead by example, isn't it?
Yeah,
Most
I
to
lead by
set the tone.
empower.
That's funny, because I set the tone as, this is my.
Yeah, I
So
think so.
you have the tone that works for me.
Yeah. it's
Yeah,
fine.
Boss dude.
Okay.
So let's go with,
So there can be more than one color within one sentence.
oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely,
Yeah, I was
absolutely.
the whole sentence was underlined in that one color.
So set the tone and expectations goes with boss dude. How about not just give commands? That's the opposite of that, isn't it?
Yeah.
How about mentoring? What does mentoring go with?
Like, when ensure vision and know, what's that, you got to vision and know?
What about lead by example?
Allow them to work on their own. Oh, ensure vision, and ensure that the vision is known.
How about
Lead
lead
by
by
That's
example?
my
and
example,
mentor?
that's it.
Lead by example and what?
Mentor,
Where's lead by example?
right here.
Right there.
Fourth sentence from the bottom.
Oh,
Right there.
geez. All right, so lead by example.
We all like right there.
Oh, okay, right there. You and mentor.
Yes.
Okay. Can we get a third one on any of them?
Gives command.
Give commands
with
to
boss.
It's
Boss.
not-
Because it said not just give.
Oh,
Not
just
just
give
give commands.
Okay.
So wouldn't that be this? Supportive? Or it doesn't count for anything.
So we see vision in two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe ensure that the vision is known.
They're supposed to be inspired. I think the ensure changed the whole,
All right, all right, all right.
that sounds like command.
This is like a lot of work.
Hold on, we gotta do a,
I get 3 interviews.
do some hazard, had to get some citation. All right, so inspire, shared vision, and this?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Mind you, it's easier when you have a lot of data. We're working off of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 one-line answers. I'm sure that your interviews have given you a lot more than this for one little question. Maybe?
So basically, so I understand this exercise. If I have 3 interviews, I'm basically 3, and I'm just going between the 3. Yep.
figure out the common thing.
For the first round of this.
Okay.
Okay, so now the common themes for the sub-question 1 are, what are your themes? The themes are some people are supportive, some people are bossy, right?
Right.
Okay, now remember, this is just for the first question. That's going to help answer this research question. Okay?
This is process somewhere.
No,
You're telling me right now.
this is it. If you find it somewhere else, it's going to be huge and insane. Basically, what you're doing is you're looking for the commonalities.
Yes.
That's relate to our research questions, or our sub-questions.
You're looking for the commonalities. If the question was, when asked to describe their leadership style,
I did take it, I took it as based on the answers you're finding common themes, not, you're analyzing each respondent's answers and then comparing them against each other.
Okay.
Not bringing it back to your question, am I ready?
not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Not yet, because here's what you're going to have. You're going to have your themes as, give me a way to generalize your themes. What is purple? What would the purple theme be? For the team to be self-sufficient and support them but allow them to work, that would be empowerment, right?
Yeah.
What would another theme be? Oh, look at that, empower my team and encourage. Do you see how now these just merged?
Yes.
Do you see that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Carl, do you see that?
I know.
Okay, so now empowerment has these. Boom, 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 and boom. What would this one be? So someone is setting the tone, being the boss dude. Oh my God, are they the thing now?
Command and control.
What, setting the tone?
I don't know. Someone's the boss dude, aren't they setting the tone?
It depends on how they're doing.
I would assume it would be the opposite way, like you may set the tone to be mentoring, to help people to lead by example.
It would be positive.
Not necessarily to be like.
Okay, so let's keep it positive. So another way to describe your leadership style would be
Authoritarian or?
inspirational.
Yeah, there you go. Inspiration, that's the word.
Motivated?
What, I set the tone and I'm the discipline and boss did, that's inspirational?
No, Stefan is pulling this to the positive. Stefan and Steve are pulling this as a positive. I set the tone and expectations for all.
Really? I didn't positive.
Me.
Do you see how it can come out
I
different?
know.
See, like, we didn't think.
Yeah, but I mean, again, it's based on how it's being delivered. I mean, you could be that and necessarily not be an ass.
The other thing too, here's the
I mean,
thing too,
excuse my language, but.
here's what I want you
You
to
don't have to be
remember.
that way.
We're looking at this much of the data, which we just made up, mind you. So this person here will have answers to other questions more than likely that will,
Drive the
Inform.
Negative or positive.
whether that is a negative or positive. Okay? So this is going to collapse down into probably a couple of themes. So authoritative, right? Because that would be the I'm a boss dude. Well, who knows? Maybe this one.
I'm looking at values-based.
I micromanage. Okay?
Yeah,
A micromanage is authoritative.
yeah.
And then maybe the other one is,
Inspiration.
what is, describe your leadership style and very supportive. Maybe supportive is that theme, and that's where the mentoring comes in, and the giving them all that you can. And maybe, I don't know that that would be supportive or not, but, okay? So do you see how they just became 3 themes? All right, are you with me? So now guess what? That's one of your interview questions. Okay?
So just for skill purposes, what you're saying is you're pulling 3 themes based out of these, there are 8 of them there. So if I have 45-minute interviews. Of course, my scale can be much different than Mimi's.
But I don't want you to say, oh, no, I have to have 3 or I can only have 3. Don't go by a number like that. You might have 5 people that all said the same thing. You may only have 2 themes. You may have only 1 theme.
So just whoever the content is.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. What would another sub-question be that would be lined in with a research question like that?
What motivators are appropriate?
Okay. How do you motivate? I only shortened it so I didn't have to write it up. Motivate. I don't care, whatever. How do you motivate?
Praise in public, acknowledge a good job.
Okay, praise. In public. Acknowledge a good job. ACKNOWLEGE. You know, writing and typing in front of a group of people is one of the most difficult things. It's horrible. It's horrible. You don't think I can't spell, which I can't spell. What are some others? How would you answer them? How do you motivate your staff?
Do challenging assignments.
Okay, challenging assignments.
Some offer rewards and incentives.
Okay. Rewards. Give pay raises.
Promotions.
Rewards and recognition.
Rewards and incentives already.
But that's okay, we can have another one. How about give them some breathing room, allowing them to do their work?
Freedom.
Okay, freedom.
Team building.
Team building. How about boss for a day?
Okay.
That in the background. Okay.
Then you go back and be the boss too.
Okay. You want to, exactly. So we want to explain. All right, so now let's code this. All right, so what are some of the codes that we could have here?
Rewards.
All right, so rewards. 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 Would pay raise be a reward?
Yeah.
Yes.
Praise and
Praise.
public. Is that a reward?
Not necessarily.
No.
Nah,
Incentives.
Why is the pay raise a reward?
Give them one.
That is a reward.
You did a great job, Carl. Here's 10 cents more an hour.
Learn what you learn.
The first and the second one.
First and second one, praise in public and acknowledge a good job.
Yeah.
Recognition.
Boss for that. Would that go?
Boss for a day.
Nah, I don't know.
I mean, that's recognition.
That's what they with freedom.
That could be anybody.
Freedom, or what about freedom? There you go.
Yeah, freedom.
Yeah, but exactly, how do you motivate? You give them balls for a day, just like you give praise in public. It's the same concept, right?
Depends on how you reward the boss, how you reward the boss for a
You
day.
could just pick up one every day.
What does freedom go with?
The boss of the day.
All right.
Take the bull by the horn and one.
Will it be
Challenging
That's
assignment
all the champions.
With what?
for freedom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Some people don't like freedom, and that can be a challenge.
Some people don't.
I would see challenging assignments with team building, as you all groan and grumble when you have to do a team job. Right? What do you think?
Well, somebody let the ring,
No, I
let the
don't
call
that one either.
To me, that's, you give you that freedom to kind of do your own thing, that's.
All right, so you don't like that one. All right, so put them with something else then, maybe. You don't like that?
I think team building is more incentives or.
You know, you added development.
Recognition.
Development.
Team is more incentive? Oh, the next time I have to put all of you in a group, I'm going to remind Carl that it's an incentive.
Well, I never.
Well, he's
I was looking more like.
These guys all do, that's right, that's right.
What about adding development and then putting that with team building?
Development, what does that mean? How do you motivate? By offering training and development?
Yeah, enhance, opportunity to enhance your development. Enhance your skills, professional, there you go, professional development, there you go.
Or, yeah,
You use
All
that.
right, so now you want
Team building,
Professional development, team building, those guys.
yeah.
Professional, ain't that like a individual thing though?
No, that's
Not necessarily.
A bunch of
I think
collaboration.
professional development is challenging assignments.
it could be.
Yeah.
You see how it can be multiple?
Yeah.
You being multiple, yeah.
So if you guys want to cover something, do this with mine.
Perfect example, right? All right, so now what are our themes?
You're so funny. Praise.
Recognition.
Rewards.
Rewards.
Acknowledgement.
Rewards.
See, the hard thing is we don't know what this question is. So we're just kind of making it up as we go, but.
Professional development.
Yeah. Because that's got what, professional development, team building, and challenging assignments.
Yeah, fine.
Incentive.
What I'm trying to do, and I don't want you to try to manipulate your data to do this, but since this is fake, we're going to try to do this. You want to try to come up with themes that eventually you're going to be able to take this group of themes, this group of themes, and this group of themes, and boil them together. Okay? So that it really comes up to the themes to answering this research question. This is what they said.
Right,
Okay.
so professional development goes with supportive.
Yeah, that's what,
Okay.
yeah, that's exactly what I was looking at.
Empowerment, praise goes with authoritative. Authoritative.
Praise doesn't go with that.
No, no. All right, empowerment. So
Empowerment, but yeah.
rewards can go with empowerment too. Praise and rewards can go with empowerment.
And then rewards is recognition.
So let's do recognition too. So, well, that would be rewards and recognition.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you that every time I feel like I got this under control,
Listen, it's really hard because we're making it up.
I know, but I'm just trying. I hope it's not going to be this hard. I told you how I feel though.
But here's what I want you to do. I want you to realize that this process of coding data is going to be what enables you to answer your research questions.
My turn is as part of the package?
What?
This color code, does this have to be part of the package?
No, this is all you. This is for you. Your transcriptions, I don't see them. I don't see your coding.
Oh, so they're not part of the appendix?
Mm-mm. So that's why it's different. Everybody will do it a little bit different. Somebody who's very tech savvy might do this right on the computer. I will challenge you though, don't say find every empowerment word, because you see how some of the same words can be used differently, or some of the same meaning is coming from different words.
Yeah.
So it's not just to match all the words that say bossy dude, match all the words that say empowerment, because you're going to have to interpret. You are going to eventually interpret what all this means. Okay? Whether you go through and you have it on your computer and you use the highlight on the computer, whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. The color, though, makes it very visual. So you can see, where do these fit in? How do they fit together? Because ultimately, you're going to report it out, and then you're going to be able to go back and say, you know what, as the researcher, and now I'm going to jump ahead of myself, are going to triangulate what the data said, what the literature said, and this is what I, as the researcher, even though I don't want you to use I, said.
So you could potentially say, depending on what your research question is, say question 1, supportive and professional development, and then whatever question 3 is. So
Professional development and something else.
Right, so you could say, what the research found for question 1, how you're going to word it differently, is that, individuals need a supportive leader who provides them professional development and blah, blah, blah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So would you suggest anything where there's ambiguity to steer away from it?
Ambiguity where?
Or, some of these were left like kind of trying to interpret, like, I set the tone for expectations for all. So we all had different interpretations of that.
That's where I think you're going to be able to interpret this when you look at that person's full data.
Yeah, but the context.
Because even in a survey, you're going to see that person's full line of answers. So you'll know where they are. If someone is, say you had a question on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being horrible and 5 being extremely happy, where do you think you are in your job? And they say it's horrible. Set the tone and expectations for all it's going to be a negative. I would think. You know what I'm saying? And you can look to see how they answered it to see what that means.
Because especially in the interviews, we can't expect from them to be like precise with the words they use. They will just, talk.
It's conversation, exactly.
They-
And that's where you as the researcher will finally get to interpret, what does this mean? What does all this data mean? Okay? So I don't want you to spend a bazillion hours doing this, but it's a process that you need to do. More importantly, it's a process you need to explain in your full capstone when you talk about how you analyzed your data.
Okay.
So are you gonna say I analyze my data by coding?
And identifying themes, which will be revealed in the following discussion. Because you're going to reveal your theme. But yeah, you're going to say that. You're going to say, the data was coded for similarities. And you should be writing down some of these phrases because some of them are really good.
That's what I was.
So I gotta laugh, because I know you're gonna roll your eyes.
So how, for example, we're going to proceed if we have, for example, things that kind of overlap? Like what we saw several times. We have one team and another team that they kind of overlap at some point.
That's okay. I see that as congruence. I see that as building the strength of whatever your purpose was.
Use my list or my bullets or no?
Oh, you get to!
I'm like.
You get to use it in a certain place. You get to do
For
your
my
answers
teams,
by
right?
bullet. Yep.
Alright.
Yep. Data were, and by the way, plural, data is plural. So data were, not data was. Okay? Data were coded. You mean, how would you finish that phrase? What did we say?
Data were coded for similarities.
Now, if we have all 9 of you say, data were coded.
I caught this.
Probably,
I don't know why I got data was good.
Common themes.
For common.
Okay?
That's fine, don't steal it.
Or common themes, commonalities,
Already stole.
Commonalities. Stole that too.
commonalities.
What list?
Oh, he does everything in bullet points.
Where's he gonna use bullet points at?
When you actually give your answers. You'll give answers for this. You'll present answers,
Oh, okay.
okay? You may even present some of the raw data, depends on what it is. All right, so data were coded for similarities. The qualitative, hold on, woo-hoo-hoo, the qualitative data,
Yeah.
okay? So I know that sounds like a bunch of humbo jumbo mumble jumble, but does that make sense? It's not as hard as it is right here because we're making it up. But you saw as crazy as all of you are, how crazy your answers were. Well, that's going to be what you have. You've got independent people giving you answers. Okay? You will have someone that say, yo, I'm the boss dude. It's okay. Because that's why you interviewed that purpose. Remember, it was purposeful sampling too. Don't forget that one. All right? The biggest thing is you're looking for common themes or you're looking for opposite themes. Okay? Because you're going to need to be able to tie it all together. Now, before we go on, let me see what else I had on that slide. Because we're going to talk real quick about survey data.
Oh, God.
What was 7:45, 8:45?
Times am I trained?
Oh.
So I got to remember that? Let's go.
Dr. Lippo, when I'm analyzing, so if I'm always buckets, everything's already buckets. So if I'm doing my interviews and I'm analyzing those, I want to do my surveys separately from that.
Yes.
and then bring it together or something. Okay.
And when you bring it together, you're going to bring it together based on your research questions, because your research questions apply to both groups. Okay, even though your data collection questions
We're
differ,
different, okay.
you're going to pull them together. So you are actually coming into your prime because you got lists and you got buckets. You've been waiting for 2 years for your lists and your buckets, and he's getting them. Okay, so we have, that was exhausting, huh? One question at a time, read responses to individual interview answers over and over and over, okay? What common words were used? Highlight or color the same or similar words. What themes did you identify? Each theme should have its own color. That's me, being very color-based, okay? You could use font, you could use whatever, but you need a differentiator. You need to be able to differentiate these words so you can say, this is the theme. I would not start cutting and pasting them and putting them under columns, because then you're going to lose context. Okay? Because remember, if we had that one that we couldn't figure out if it was negative or positive, you would never be able to retrace that unless you went back to your data. All right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Good? Thumbs up? Can I get a wave? So, what do you do for these? This is why I'm not recording video. What do you do with your themes? You're going to use them when presenting the findings, and then use them later when you, as a researcher, get to interpret your findings. You've been dying for 2 years to have a voice. So, survey data. Am I going to make you do heavy-duty statistical analyses? T-tests,
No.
ANOVA,
No.
MANOVA, double-tailed something. No. These are the ones that you need to know. Mean, median, mode, that type of thing. Do you remember what they are? No. We all have those, don't worry about it. Basically, you're looking for averages.
Yeah.
Averages are your mean. Okay, wait till you see something the Google form can do for you. Median is what? Think of a road. What's the median in a road?
Middle of the road.
It's in the middle of the road, right? So guess what that is? That's the data point that's in the middle of the road. So that's not so hard, huh? And then what's the mode? I don't have a little cutesy thing that relate that to. Any guess? It's the most frequently occurring response. Okay? Me neither. Me neither, but you know what? It's part of life. There are 2 sites here that I want you to go watch. We're going to run out of time, so I don't want to do it now. This is a video that talks about mean, median, and mode and how you can find them out if you're even doing it manually. All right, but I'm going to show you a Google form that will help you. This is just a little quickie about statistics and mean, median, mode. Again, more definition-based, just if you need it. You don't have to have a ton, but you need to be able to tell us what your data told you. Okay? So I keep going here. All right, here's some keywords that I want you to write down. So we had the one that we had over there for qualitative data. This is a great thing. Great thing to put in there. The transcriptions were cross-checked for accuracy. And I'm going to post this, but I still want you to have it. The data were coded and themes were identified. We're going to your own little variation that you have there. When you're talking about your quantitative data analysis, descriptive analysis is what you have conducted. Talk about teaching to the test here, right? I don't care, let's do this one. And I want you to talk about the mean or the average. To me, average is everyday language. Mean is graduate level language. Keep in mind that when you do your presentation and you talk about the mean, you might have to explain that the mean is the average. Because not everybody will know it, just like all of you gave me those big old saucer eyeballs when I said mean, median, mode. Okay? But you're going to sound so darn smart. Right? Another thing that I want you to talk about when you're talking about your methodology. How did you come up with those people that you interviewed? What's your sampling?
My population?
No, you're sampling. How did you come up with your sampling?
I came out with leaders in management positions. Purpose statement.
No.
Purposeful sampling.
Purposeful sampling. Please use that when you're talking about how you identified who you were going to use. Okay?
Do you have to explain purposeful statement?
Let me explain it to you because it makes so much sense when you know what it means.
Okay.
What would random sampling be?
People are asking people questions or conducting surveys that way, that's right.
It could be that, it could be that you were given a list of employees and you went 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and you took all the ones.
Yeah.
That would be random sampling. Random sampling is pulling a name out of a hat, okay? What is convenient sampling? God, don't ever read that, please.
People that are right here, right now.
People that are right here, right now, because it's for the convenience of you as a researcher. You're easy, I'm gonna interview you. You're not gonna be here until 6 o'clock. I don't wanna interview you, I don't wanna stick around that late. Okay? So that would be convenient sampling. What would purposeful sampling be?
People
That's
that,
your targeted group, right?
people relative to your research.
Relative to your research, your target group, what's another way of saying target group? They met your criteria. And your criteria, as identified by you, is, in Tim's case, his criteria is going to be that it's a person who has worked in multiple environments.
So for me,
Professional environments, yes, thank you. What?
so for me, just want to make sure I'm on point. Minority business entrepreneurs that have been in business for 5 years or more.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay.
Who's not sure who your population is? You've got your population, which would, in Steve's case, be all minority business owners in Philadelphia who've been in business for more than 5 years. His purposeful sampling are those, how many you know? 5 that he's talking to.
So my purposeful sampling would be 5 individuals in a leadership position.
Where?
Either telecommunications or healthcare
Yes.
or government.
And your population would have been all of the managers or all of the people in the leadership positions within that organization. But your purposeful sampling are those 5. And they were picked because they met the criteria
Of being a leader in a management position.
that was everybody.
I don't know what it is right here.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. So,
Could you do,
Still with it?
leaders with tenure over a certain period of time?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
I don't know why my mental criteria.
So how did you pick those people?
It was,
All right, so yours is random sampling.
right.
Was it really random sampling?
I mean, no, I know them, so I picked them.
Well, it was convenient sampling.
But I don't
No,
know.
that's not true, because, because someone that I'm interviewing is not someone that I necessarily know personally, I know of, but I've never, like, interacted with that person before, and that's why I
Convenience
chose them.
doesn't mean that they're your friend.
Okay, well, then I got convenient sampling, I don't know.
No, you don't want to do that. Let's make it so that it's purposeful sampling.
So mine, I have to say, because basically I have, my one group, I have the executives and I have the directors and managers, so I gotta separate those out. I can't just say, I interviewed leaders in the organization.
Exactly, exactly. And the purpose for those people being there is because of their perspective as it relates directly to the purpose of your research.
I still don't know why my mental criteria.
Let's talk about it.
Based on
Okay, so you're talking to people,
Who manage female employees?
oh, okay, well then that's one of the criteria, because you could have somebody who manages people but no females.
Okay.
Well, I don't know my sample. I don't know how they can go about, I'm going outside from organization, I'm going to work on an anonymous survey, but the interview I'm asking for 5 to 6.
So yours is purposeful sampling as provided by the organization based on the topic that you're researching. I'll help you come up with a phrase on that. I gotta look at it again, I don't remember off the top of my head. What did I say? Oh, I don't know what I said. Yours is purposeful sampling. Yours could actually be random sampling. Or are they picking people based on certain things?
They're educators and administrators.
But it's really a random sampling as determined by the site.
And that's the one.
Let's talk about yours. And we don't have to do it right now.
I got it.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Someone else ran.
You,
I
okay.
know, I mean, I'm still, but I think I got it.
Okay. If you
I'm
get
still
stuck with
committed
that,
to it.
here's the thing, if you get stuck with that, include your methodology when you send in your sample, your results and findings. And that way we can take a look at it and see, that may be a good idea for y'all to do anyway, especially if you had some bouncing around a little bit with how you were doing stuff. Okay? Okay. What other terms do you need to have in there? Purposeful sampling, the data were coded and analyzed, you use descriptive analysis. Cool. Good? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the important stuff. Where does this fit in? Where do your results and findings fit in to the full project when it's done?
They go after your,
After your lit review?
Before they're done.
We've been watching Family Feud. We've been like binge watching Family Feud, so it's got a red buzzer right now.
That's celebrity.
I know. So where does your results and findings go? See,
After the ballot.
after the methodology, exactly. Because if you think about it, you had your introduction, you had your problem, you had your purpose statement, you had your what? Your lit review, your research questions, your methodology.
Yeah, I was gonna say it, that's how I figured out that's where it should go, because
Yeah, go.
the research questions should come before that, and then boom.
And then boom!
It's right there.
Don't you remember the research questions that guided this study were, because you used to say are, no, you said would be, and now you have to change it to were. Because now by the time you turn in your full, it's going to be past tense, because your study has been completed.
Then you can say, I mean,
Then
some
you,
of the wording that we use, we can
okay, so you have your methodology and then you've got your results and findings, okay? And I want you to open with a sentence similar to, and you'll get this, but I'm not giving it to you yet, because I don't want you to read this yet.
Oh, man.
I want your sentence to say something to the effect of, the data from this, fill in the blank, case study, multi-site case study, ethnography, phenomenological study, phenomenology, mixed methods research, whatever it may be, was collected via interviews and electronic surveys, or whatever that may be. The research questions that guided this study, I know. Why am I saying it again? Just gotta remind the person.
Research question there.
That guided the study work, and here comes Carl's bullets. 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
oh, we can put them like bullets?
Yep, the Carl Fritz special. Okay?
okay.
You don't have to explain the full methodology all over again.
You already did that.
Yeah, and it's coming right after that.
Yeah.
So why are we mentioning the research questions again?
Just
Just reflection.
Just to remind.
Yeah.
You know what, I sent an article in for a journal, and they sent back saying, you kept repeating some of these things. I'm like, that's because I'm used to doing that. So you gotta back off sometimes, but I want you to keep them in there.
So you want the research questions in this section, right?
Yeah. And you'll see that when you get this,
Okay.
okay? And then you're going to provide the demographics of your study. All of you have demographics of your study. So this would look like what?
Oh, the site location.
So I have 8.
The site location.
You don't identify
I
yourself.
know,
No,
but,
because your site location already been talked about in the methodology.
so Philadelphia, tri-state area.
You don't even need to say that because it's already been in the methodology.
So how would?
Your demographics would be
So I
what?
have age, I have education
Oh.
level,
Yeah.
Location.
gender.
And you want to do this by your interview population and your survey.
Well, I can ask the CEO and his age.
Now, you can
No.
assume some of it, and you want to bracket, you don't want to
Right.
say you had one who was
35,
22, one who was
yeah.
74,
That's how I have it,
Yeah.
Okay.
okay? Other demographics that you may have collected could be how long have you been employed at your position?
Yeah, we
I
can
have
do that.
that.
What other demographics did you collect? Or were
Years
you,
of employer.
years at the employer,
How many employees do you manage?
how many employees do you manage, exactly?
How many of those employees are females?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you get the gist of what your demographic questions were, because you already got them if you had them, okay?
And I know in mine, I'm asking them if they will provide me with total number of students enrolled, and of those students, how many are developmental, and I'm asking for developmental department staff size.
Okay. That would be good.
I have a question.
That was a big
One
slide.
of my questions in the interview is not what's your gender, but I know the gender because I can just speak out and put it in brackets.
Absolutely.
If I didn't ask that specifically.
Yep, absolutely. Because you were able to observe that.
Yes.
So remember, part of qualitative is also observations. Okay?
Because for the people that I interview, I don't ask their gender, but for the people that I survey, I did
Perfect.
ask their.
But the people who you interviewed, you can infer their gender. You can figure out what they are. Okay? After your demographics, you're going to get into your interviews. How, and this is descriptive, okay? But you're saying about how it actually happened. Your methodology was how it's going to happen, how it, how you proposed and all of that. This was how were they presented? No, that's the wrong word. How were they selected? Here's your purposeful sampling. Now, I may back you up if this is too repetitive to your methodology. Okay? Because if you're talking about you're going to do purposeful sampling and then 2 paragraphs later you're saying that you did purposeful sampling, that might be too repetitive. Alright? Think about your methodology, which should be detailed. But make sure that this part here is addressed somewhere. This goes right here in your reporting of your demographics. How many people were the survey, well, no, this is the interviews. How many people were potentially in that population? This organization has approximately 50 managers, 50 leaders. Okay?
Oh, so when you say how many, you want to know how many people could have been interviewed.
That's your population. Yep. But you don't want to say had 47.
So,
There's a point in time that you have to avoid very specific identifiers.
so in my particular case, so I would identify how many employees the organization has.
In your case, how many in leadership positions?
Well, that's my purpose, I'll say it like that.
You're doing everybody?
Marketing managers.
Okay, well, you have how many people in your leadership position didn't get your survey?
Senior leadership, you're right.
Okay, so senior leadership is who you interviewed. So your population for your interviews was 12 people.
Gotcha.
But your sample, your purposeful sample was 4 or 3. Okay? How long did the interviews actually last? This, I would say, would almost fit up in your methodology. Remember where you said it was going to last 35 minutes? Make it accurate now. Instead of saying, well, it might be, average it out.
So,
Mean it out, right?
If that's different from like the letter that we sent for approval, and we said the interview will be approximately 25-30 minutes, but then if the result is different, it can be.
Could be accurate.
be accurate.
Yeah.
So,
If you said in your letter, in your IRB, that you were going to interview 15 people, but only interviewed 4, that's not acceptable. Okay? But the time frame, that's okay.
So in my case, it's only one, right?
What do you mean?
It's only one option, only one more.
You did more than one. No, the owners, there were how many owners? How many
Oh.
businesses are there in Philadelphia owned and operated by minorities? But that's where your statistics can come in. You know, your small business association can provide, you know, in the study area, there are X number of people.
So provide for one of the organizations I'm using a sub group within the organization. That's what I got approval for. I didn't get approval to interview outside of that.
Then you want to talk only about that subgroup.
Right, okay.
But you want to identify it as it's a subgroup, it's a department, or it's a, whatever it's called.
Right.
But yeah, you only want to provide the sample, the population information on that subgroup.
Correct.
But identify it as part of a larger.
So I could say something like, you know, a large healthcare provider in the tri-state area, within that organization, a particular department, I'm not going to name the department,
Right.
and then I'm going to say within that department there are 20 leaders.
Approximately.
Approximately 20
Approximately
leaders.
becomes a good word for you guys.
Yes, approximately 20 leaders. Out of those 20 leaders, I interviewed 5.
Out of those leaders, 5 were interviewed.
Yeah.
I didn't do
I
anything.
not I.
But okay, but I didn't do anything. Yeah, 5 were interviewed, okay? So you get that part here. This is descriptive. This is telling the audience, okay, so what did this study really entail? All right? What do you, sorry, that's okay.
So I am going to go back into, we all should be going back into our methodology now and changing the way we word it.
And making it right.
Okay.
Because remember, when you had your methodology in your proposal, it still got tweaked a bit with IRB, didn't it?
Yeah.
So now it has to be reflective of all of that tweaking, okay? Your full project, when you turn it in, needs to be comprehensive of every bit of edits you got along the way. And now it's got to be, boom, here it is. Okay?
As you say, tri-state, I'm sure that Pennsylvania is
Jose is not part of the tri-state?
check it. Not 100% sure, but I'm 99.5% sure.
Oh, was it New
I think
York?
it's New York and
Jersey, Delaware.
No, it's,
Oh, there's lots of tri-state areas around.
Yeah.
We're,
I thought it was Philadelphia, New Jersey.
I was researching that for different purposes.
No, New York, it's New York,
Tri-state is New
Connecticut,
York,
Jersey.
Connecticut, and something else.
Yeah, I mean, it's all different, depending on the region.
Here's,
Can I say tri-state or
Yeah, because I said tri-state.
should I say?
if you
the-
go to Delaware Valley,
What
that
is the
includes parts of
the
Delaware,
north,
New
east
Jersey.
region
I mean,
of
for
the
me,
United
I
States?
went as far as Maryland.
So you
well,
should
you
go-
could say that actually. You could say the tri-state region of New York, Pennsylvania, Jersey, and Delaware.
Okay.
That would be fine. Yeah, I'm sure that all across the country, there's tri-state.
Tri-state area.
In Wikipedia, it's Delaware Valley. It's-
Okay. I got it.
Because I was doing research for something else.
That's why it's cool having stuff on. Alright, so for your surveys, when you're describing your survey, this is where you say how many people it was sent to. Okay, don't say it was sent to all of the people who fit the criteria, no, it was sent to 142 people.
I don't know how many miles sent to, because I asked the people that I interviewed to send me that.
Can they tell you how many?
Oh, yeah, I know.
That's an important thing, because you gotta figure out what your response rate is.
Okay.
Ask them how many it went to. And as a researcher, you're entitled to know that. You should know that. How was it sent? Did the researcher send it? Did the organization send it? Was it sent via email? Someone wants to do hand surveys, and I don't remember who, and you may not even be in here. Don't do hand surveys. Don't do hand surveys. There's absolutely no way of guaranteeing accuracy. I mean, don't do hand surveys. So it was sent out, and it was using Google Form or SurveyMonkey or whatever you used. How many people, were reminders sent? It was, and you don't have to necessarily say it was sent out on June 1st, and a reminder was sent on June 4th, and a reminder was sent out on June 8th. You could say that it was distributed, and within a 3-week period, 2 reminders were sent out. Something on that line. If you have dates in there, it's not the end of the world, okay? But I'll tell you what happens when you have a date in there. It's making it very specific. Because guess what? You send your results back to that organization, and they know someone's been on vacation for the whole month of July, or they were out on sabbatical. Well, you know that they didn't participate in it. Isn't it weird how sticky things can be? You got to protect their confidentiality at all costs. What were the criteria for them to receive the survey? Maybe they happen to be just employed in the right departments. Okay? Maybe one of the criteria is that they're employed by the organization. All right? The reminders are sent out, how often and when. What is your response rate? This is a critical piece of information. How do you find out your response rate?
You send out, you have to
How
respond.
many get back?
Yeah.
Gives you
Simple
percentage.
division, exactly.
It's 100%.
For the surveys, yes. Because your interviews hopefully will have 100% response rate. Yeah. Or else you're not interviewing them. All right?
Right, I mean, for those people that really ask to participate in the interview, and they say no, they don't come.
You don't have this. No. But the response rate, what is the ultimate response rate that you want? Carl?
You told me it's 50%.
That's the acceptable one. What's the ultimate that you want?
100%.
100%, exactly. You want everyone to do it. What's an acceptable one? 50% is good. Pushing the bar, what is an acceptable one? 1/3. What? 1/3. Yeah. Yeah. 2/3 would be awesome. If you had to go with 30% and you set reminders and reminders, then that would be okay. The downside of that is you're going to get the polarized people. You're going to get the people that are the cheerleaders and the people that are the haters. You're going to be sat on that whole middle ground. You know? You're going to have a challenge with response rate at a time in which someone else is sending it. Or, well, actually I could go backwards. I could go 2 ways on that. If someone receives a survey from someone that they don't know, what's the likelihood of them completing that survey?
Zero.
Exactly. But you also have the thought of, oh my God, my boss is going to ask me to do this survey and they're going to see my answers. I'm not going to do it. So it's a crapshoot. That's why a 30% response rate is acceptable if that's what it has to be.
You know, it was interesting in mine, I had an incentive, but you had, like, you didn't put your email address in the survey, you had to email me back. I got a very low response rate on people that wanted to be entered into a drawing for the incentive.
Because they still have a fear that, oh, if I do that, they're going to know who I was. And I would also caution you, Carl, to not publicize who won. You could only do an email out to everyone that the winner has been identified and has received the gift, but you don't want to say that Kanisha White won the prize, because guess what? You just identified Kanisha White as a participant. Okay? So the responses, here's going to be how you provide a response to any demographic. This is how it actually appears in your paper. So for the responses, you're going to give the demographics. You're going to have research question 1 and then the responses to your sub-questions. You may have it in bullet point form. Do you have to provide every single one? Not necessarily. You need to provide those that are interesting, those that contribute to your themes. Okay? You may break your research question 1, no, I'm saying this wrong. You may break these responses off into the sub-themes, okay? Because you want it to be in an organized fashion. But you don't have to respond and post bing, 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 here's your answers, all of them. Post the significant answers. I don't know.
So if I said director, manager, or other title, I have 3 answers, director, manager, or other. So what you're saying is I don't have a list, say 30% of directors.
Oh, no, that you can do because that's a simple statistic. What I don't want you to do is, remember how we had all these answers over here? You don't have to type all those answers into your paper, or try to page after page after page data. If you feel this is so important, do it as an appendix, but pick out the important ones.
This is how that relates to demographic, now I'm confused.
Oh, demographic, yes, that I want you to put your numbers in. I'm talking about here.
Okay.
Demographics, you can put little grids, you can put charts, you can put tables. Absolutely. Okay, we need to hear those numbers. But that's not answering 4 years, 14 years, 5 years, 6 years, 6 years, 7 years, 7 years for how long they've been employed. You're going to give us a little schematic or something that will say 14% have been employed between 5 to 8 years. Okay?
Yep.
Okay, same thing with research question 2 with all of your sub-answers. Pick out your themes. Okay? It's okay to start showing these themes. All right? If you feel so inclined to share everything, stick it in the appendix. But still address it as the themes. And I would really go into the themes here. Okay? However, it needs to still be in its raw form. So if you present it as your theme, simply list it. Don't say that it was coded and this theme arose. You want to start presenting it in it so that the theme is really coming out. So as I read this, and I didn't read all of your transcriptions, I'm starting to say, oh wow, I see a theme developing here. Because when I flip to where you interpret it, I want to see that same theme.
You're not developing it though, you're just stating it.
You're just stating it. In this part, you're just stating it. Tell me the facts. Give me the facts. What did people say?
So, for one of mine, excuse me. It says, what motivators are more appropriate for women than men? I'm going to interview 5 people. I can bullet point what those 5 people said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or if you had 2 people say the same thing, you could say 2 responses were this, another one said that, and another one said this. It turns into being too cumbersome, too much stuff. Generalize it a little bit.
You don't want to go and say, the 2 of the people said this, but they, to develop it out. You don't want to do, you just want to basically state it.
Yeah, exactly what they said.
The theme. The
theme of what they said. I wonder if this will help you. This might help you. I have an example in here. Let me give this to you now. Don't get caught up in reading it all right now, though. Okay. What I want you to do, and I don't know how I'm getting all confused. In this part here, you are reporting the results. You're reporting the answers that were shared. What you are permitted to do is categorize those raw data.
You killed me on these notes, this is great.
What?
You killed me on these notes, like trying to keep up with a lot of it's on here.
Okay, that's all right. But Kanisha, I want you to be able to break it into perhaps categories using that raw data. So 5 people stated that money is the big motivator. Okay? 3 people stated money is not a motivator. I use X, Y, Z. If you get some very specific things, use those statements. Absolutely use those statements as a bullet point. Okay? But I don't want you to go through and basically give me the whole transcription.
Right.
All right? Here's where doing the draft of your results and findings is going to be very helpful, because I'm going to say you can collapse this down a little bit or expand that a little bit more. Okay? All right? I know it sounds confusing, but when you start getting into it, it won't be too bad. And then you have your interpretation, which is what? The drum roll. People with that whole music thing. What's the interpretation stand for?
For me to speak.
It's for your voice. This is where your voice as the researcher comes in. Okay, so now you have gone through this whole process. You explained your methodology, you explained the data that you collected. Now you get to say what it means. All right? This is where you can say, this is what all that raw data said. wow, I remember when the literature said this. This is what it means. It means that there is a connection between the literature and what my findings were, although don't go into first person, okay? What the findings of the research were. Therefore, this interpretation is that mentorship really does have an impact on leadership development. Or there's a disconnect between what the literature says when Schmagegi and Pugh said this, but my data countered it. Therefore, this meaning is that there is no connection between mentorship and leadership development. Okay? So you're going to triangulate these. You're going to make a triangle with the three. You've got this point now. You already did this point, and now it's your turn to do this point. Okay? This is where you can finally write a statement, and I am not going to put according to who on it. Okay? I don't want to know a source because you are the source. I can't wait to read your thoughts because you've been throwing them at me all along, okay? All right? But essentially what you're doing here is now you're not going into these sub-questions. Now you're addressing this as the research questions. You've got three, perhaps, research questions. You're going to say, okay, research question 1, the data told me this, the literature told me this is what it means. Okay? So do you see now how you're going backwards? You're not going into all this little nitty-gritty, granular detail of 4 people said this and 5 people said that. Now you're going to be able to say, well, the greater majority alluded to whatever. Okay? You could identify maybe an absence of something, a gap. That's a good word. Okay, an absence or a gap. Or what you don't want to use the word of is correlate. Don't use correlate. Correlate is a statistical word. Okay? You're not into a correlation. Make sure that you're not doing a cause and effect. Okay? You cannot say, because someone gets mentored, they become a good leader. You're not doing cause and effect research. Nobody is in this room. Okay? You could say that good mentorship may lead to better leadership skills, but it's not a 100% unless you could say without a doubt that it's 100%. Okay? Where you get into cause and effect is where you have like medical studies. Okay? The 8 people who took this medication were cured. Cause and effect. Because the 8 people who had the placebo were not cured. Okay? So that's what that's all about. So don't use correlation, don't use cause and effect. Don't allude to cause and effect. Okay? But the biggest thing is this is where you get to have your voice. Okay? What's your next part? Oh, tables. When do you get to use tables? You can use tables when you are trying to present something that is, when you're writing it and it starts to get mumbo jumbo. There's too many numbers, there's too many percentages, there's too many of this in paragraph form. You may want to just put it in the table. In this paper, there's a couple of examples, or at least one example, of like when you would do a table. And keeping in mind that these here, years of service, this is a great way to demonstrate some of your demographics. Okay? Please look at APA for how you do a table. There's a very specific format, which actually looks a lot like this. Okay? You may do a pie chart. You may do a line graph. You may do a bar graph. I would just encourage you to not throw too many weird things at it. Okay? You want to go streamlined, you want to go classy looking, you want to keep it somewhat consistent. Okay? If you do a table, what do you have to do? You have to talk about it in the text. You have to say what's on that table in a little blurb and refer to it. Don't say see below, just say see table 1. Okay? What happens if you have a figure, where do figures, no, what goes in the appendix? You have a figure or a table, and you have something goes in the appendix. I can't remember off the top of my head. Take a look and see. Check your paper. Worst case scenario, you won't get it after you get feedback. I'll look at that, I don't remember. Something goes in the back as an appendix. Okay, maybe it's just the appendix. No, there's something that goes in the back. I think it's a chart. Charts go in the back. This is a little bit more detailed. When you're doing qualitative data analysis, you probably won't have too many tables. You won't have the need for too many tables. Okay? If you're doing mostly qualitative and you do have some quantitative from surveys, really consider how you want to present that. The thing is, you want to make it so that when the reader reads your stuff, that it makes sense, that it flows. Okay, APA already throws that flow thing out the window because it chops up every sentence that you write. But you don't want the data to be presented in a way that's mumbo-jumbo. You don't want your interpretation to be presented in a way that's thrown around. Okay? No breathing. They should shut her computer down, so. She's like that already. You're annoyed. Okay? Read the helpful hints.
Are you in next week?
Yep, I am. Also, if you were to look at our course page, I think it's posted there too. So here's what I want you to look at. This is the skeleton. This is basically the way that you're going to do it. Okay? You've got your demographics, you've got your research question 1, the questions that are directly related, the responses. If it's too detailed, toss it to the appendix, research question 2, and on from there. And then you see how your interpretation or implication just goes. Oops, there should be a 2 there. Research question 1, 2, and 3. You don't go into all the subs. Recommendations. This is where you as the researcher get to recommend things. I recommend that this organization implement a mentoring program. This researcher recommends taking this to the Chamber of Commerce so that other organizations can learn from it. Okay? Recommendations for future research. This was great, but you know what? Something else was uncovered, and now we should probably think about going further with it. All right, what are your recommendations? You know what this goes to? What's my question? So what? You took all this time, you made me read all these pages, so what? What's your recommendation? What is the point of doing this research if you can't recommend something, right? What's your so what? And then you have a conclusion. Should your conclusion be, and there it is, boom, and I'm done. No. Your conclusion needs to have a little bit more meat to it than that. Okay? All right? Your conclusion needs to just kind of go back and touch on what the problem was, what the point was.
You can't say that's it?
Nope. Nope.
I like this.
Exactly. No checkered flag, nothing like that.
That's all.
She wrote, see,
The bad things, right?
That's all, folks.
Exactly.
Researcher out.
Okay? The hard thing is by the time you get to this part, you are so over
So
it.
I'm done.
Yes. Yeah. But it's your last couple of things. Right? We're supposed to do all this in the next one. God, what's the time?
Right.
Yeah, what's the time? See, you don't want to jump on that April, August 17th.
Happy August 21st.
I'm going to be the one who will assign the dates probably. Based on.
Where what?
I guess the proposal is really
Based
the
on.
meetup. That's why it's so important.
Based on progress, right?
How would the presentation be?
Proposals, but
How long
it's already in the.
How would the presentation be?
I mean, they were done, except for.
That's a great question. Stefan just asked about the process of the presentation. And actually, you know what, that feeds to that slide. The presentation, the way it's gonna work is when you're ready for it, and I don't want you to go to presentation unless you're ready, okay? But I don't want to have everybody doing it on the 21st, because that's not right either, because then you're going to close on a discussion. When you're ready for your presentation, you get scheduled. We have 51 and 52 schedules reserved for 3 Fridays in August, the 7th, the 14th, and the 21st. There will be a formal announcement made from me. I will send out an email to the Pierce community, which is all the staff and faculty, full-time staff, and the full graduate student body. And it will say that Stefan Dordov will be presenting his capstone research on Friday, August 14th. And you're all going to be given a time slot too. So you can't go over your time slot at 5:40 in 51 and 52, and there's going to be a link for an Adobe Connect so that we can record it, so someone can theoretically patch in and watch it and listen to it and all that stuff. And then at 5:40, the show is yours, and you get to do your presentation. And I forget what the criteria is. We can look at it, or it's in the syllabus maybe, about how long the presentations are and question and answer and stuff like that. But it needs to be a formal presentation. I'm talking dress up, I'm talking, serious stuff. There's a discussion online that corresponds with it. After your presentation, I send you a link to your presentation. You have the job of posting that link into the discussion thread, so people who aren't here, anyone who's flexed, is able to get in there and have a conversation. As the researcher, you have to respond to every single person, okay? If someone happens to not be here and they do their presentation, they will either do it via Adobe Connect with me, and anyone else will be able to chime in if they want to, but then that will also be recorded and posted. So if someone is doing a presentation virtually, it's probably in your best interest, if at all possible, to participate at that time with them, virtually. If not, you have to sit and watch the presentation as a recording. It's not the end of the world, but to give everybody the full respect, it would probably be the thing, if you can do it.
Just hypothetically, what would the virtual present? I mean, how would you present virtual? Like, for example, your formal summer vacation, right?
Wherever you want to, but you...
You're in New York.
Wherever you are, I would say do it in a professional setting. I wouldn't do it at the ballpark. But you have to have a camera and you have to have a microphone. And you have to have a visual aid, so there needs to be a way that we see you and we also see your visual aid. So you may do your presentation. I'm saying we're going to do them 5:30 to 8:30. I think we'll be an hour. We'll be that full hour after that one. Instead of 7:30, I think we'll be 8:30. I don't know, we'll see. It depends. If you all get split up among 3 weeks or 2 weeks, we will be fine in 2 hours. Perhaps. I forget how long we do it. We haven't had anyone do it virtually, so we'll have to play with that a little bit. Okay?
That's a little tough, though. Virtually, that seems tough. I wouldn't do it tough. I wouldn't do it, but it seems tough.
I agree.
That's too tough.
But there's too many things that can go wrong with it.
Yeah,
I know,
and it just won't look right to me. It'll just be, unless you got the setting to do it and then the camera to do it. If you go on like a laptop or something, it's going to be awful.
Yeah.
It's just
But you have to remember, and that's part of your presentation is how is it coming across?
Yeah, that's what
Because remember, this is also, remember when we did a PrenNet and we looked at ceiling fans and people from here up and stuff like that, and laundry hanging in the closets behind us, and how we were talking at that time about how you present yourself in a virtual environment, setting you up for this. Because basically, you've got the opportunity to do it in a virtual environment, but it's still a presentation.
That one was easier. You didn't have to do it.
I don't know what you
So, for example, I recorded my video and then I was inserting like different videos or diagrams or something. But it was easy to put inside and just export the video. Like now when it's live.
When we start using the, movie maker?
Yeah.
That's what we use back then.
But your presentation, if it's virtual, has to be live. It can't
Yeah, I'm
be,
not doing that.
yeah, it can be recorded that way. All right, so what questions do you have? If you have not sent me the link in the Dropbox for your e-portfolio, when you do it, let me know, send me an
You
email.
got it.
Yeah, we wasn't sure that, right? I shared that.
You
Yeah,
got
did you
mine.
put it in the Dropbox?
Oh, you put the link in the Dropbox?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
If you.
Oh, you got the link in the drop.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just put
okay.
it in my Dropbox.
I didn't know that last night.
It's usually good for Friday.
All right, I'll make
Friday.
No, our instructional week starts Friday.
Okay.
So even though you have access to it, you can't see it unless it's in Dropbox? Is that what?
No, it's because if you send me the link via email, I have 3,000 emails.
Oh, okay, I got it.
But I need to have a link in one spot.
Okay.
That way I know it's there. Plus, if you read the little fine print, I think you're supposed to identify which tree you do. I forget.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
four
we're
you
talking about
did.
the four, I thought it was four.
Yeah, it is four.
Yeah.
I think you're supposed to identify the four that you did.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. Oh, in the
So I
Dropbox.
just submit the link.
Okay.
So wait a minute, so when we added you in, that didn't automatically give you that?
That's what I thought, that's what I thought too. I
I
thought
thought
you
it was
were-
an email or something.
I did get your email, but you know what, it's weird. I can't always edit them when I get them that way.
Okay.
But go back in and make sure that you do it in the Dropbox, that you send me that link, not send me that link, but you copy and paste that link into the Dropbox,
Okay.
okay? And finish up whatever the description is that you have to do. I think you're supposed to tell me what for you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does say that.
What questions do you have? Take a look at the course calendar for what's coming up this week. You know I am relaxed with due dates in this one. I just need to hear from you. I know you're all counting, and believe me, I've got as many moving parts as you do, because I've got all of your moving parts, okay? So if I ask you 5 times, tell me again what you're doing, it's because I've got alphabet soup in my brain too. Okay? It's all part of the process, right? You'll all get through it.
We'll run this thing.
Ride or die.
You'll be good.
We'll run down the street. Yeah. Wait, congratulations.
Hey, you get to celebrate all from August until June. Shoot, you'd be crazy if you didn't celebrate the whole time. You know?
Yeah, they graduated. Let's go.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
So do you have any questions?